GALP.
おい大地、ブッシュヒルゴルフパークで会おう。最寄りの駅は地下鉄ビクトリア線のコックフォスターズだよ。ブッシュロード、コックフォスターズ？マジで？そんな場所本当にあんの？からかわれてる？絶対からかわれてるよな。もうネットで調べたいのに、ロンドンマジで Wi-Fi 全然ないんだけど、どうなってんの？海外旅行や出張の準備は万全ですか？次回日本を離れる際はグローバル Wi-Fi で安心。イギリスやアメリカを含む200以上の国と地域で Wi-Fi が利用可能。全国39カ所、そして20の空港で便利な受け取りサービスをご用意。さらに128の国と地域で無制限プランも。お得な価格で快適なインターネットを。今すぐタウン Wi-Fi.com にアクセスし、クーポンコード GAL を入力して 10% 割引をゲットしましょう。この番組はグランドスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Hey guys, and welcome to GALP. It's me, Bish, for another weekly episode. And for the first time in like 2 years, maybe for the first time since COVID, we've got a guest on the podcast.
Hello, I'm Mags. I have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, Mags. Before we get into it and before I kind of talk about Mag and talk with Mag, going to go through our disclaimer for you new folks. GALP is a weekly gaming discussion podcast under the GALP Podcast Network. We talk about all sorts of games from big AAA titles all the way to awesome indie games, but our forte is Japanese games, so expect that a lot. We can be found anywhere you listen to podcasts, including Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and now on YouTube. Whilst you're there, be sure to give us a 5-star review, and remember, if you want to join in on the fun, then follow us on all of our socials, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and X, all at GAL Podcasts. Okay, so people might be wondering, who is Mags? Bish, how do you know him? It's actually quite interesting, actually, to be fair with you. I joined Blue Sky recently because of what was going on Twitter and all of that, and I needed a place to kind of go to, and I think a lot of people are like transitioning over for obvious reasons. And I think I posted something, and this guy just retweets it and follows the podcast page and like comments on my videos on YouTube, mind you. And I'm not a YouTuber by any means. The podcast just automatically gets uploaded on YouTube. And I checked out his videos and I'm like, hell yeah, man, this guy seems cool. Like his reviews seem cool. We talk about a lot of the same games. So I thought, let's bring him on. So welcome, Mags.
I'm very flattered. Thank you.
No worries, man. For our listeners who are not necessarily familiar with your channel, tell us a little bit about yourself and what really sparked your love for JRPGs.
I'm Mags. I started my YouTube channel around a year and a half ago. I do reviews and comprehensive video guides on a lot of NIS games. NIS has a lot of really big strategy RPGs, so I really started my channel around this kind of desire to make a guide because there weren't many good video guides out there, I didn't think, or anything that really went over everything in one video. So I thought I could do that, and then I just kind of went from there. I started reviewing other games, whole slew of stuff, and then eventually I kind of started narrowing down to more NIS stuff. In terms of my love for RPGs, though, it was a fairly recent thing. I didn't grow up with video games all too much. It's more like a reignited passion from about 2019 to 2020. I played a lot of games like as a kid. Like I grew up with the Wii and the DS and everything. Not so much RPGs or JRPGs really in general, unless you count like, I don't know, Super Paper Mario, but I don't think I would. It was around the time Smash Ultimate came out that I'd grown up with Brawl. I'd played that when I was like a young kid, so I think it was a lot of nostalgia and the fact that I hadn't really played video games for a long time that I was like, I really want this game. Smash Ultimate was coming out, so I got a Switch, I got Smash Ultimate, and I kind of just went from there. So the first kind of big RPG I sunk my teeth into was actually not even on Switch, it was on PC, Persona 4 Golden. I had heard really good things about Persona. That was on Steam, it was probably on sale at the time. And that really hit me hard in terms of just the story, the characters. I loved everything about it, and I kind of just went from there. I played other RPGs very soon after, Octopath Traveler, Dragon Quest 11, and kind of just, that's really what started it.
Okay, it's very interesting that you mentioned Persona 4 Gold, and I think a lot of people that listen to the podcast are big fans of the Persona series. And I also kind of started with Persona through Golden, but on the Vita. So it's very interesting that people actually got into Persona and into JRPGs through the PC port, which I thought was kind of wild to think about it. Because I was thinking, obviously, I mean, NIS originally, well, actually, no. I say NIS. The reason why I say NIS is because NIS America actually published Persona 4 Golden in Europe. So that's why I mentioned NIS America. But it's very interesting that Atlas actually re-released it on PC after that many years, right? And now there's kind of a resurgence in the Persona games now and all that. It is quite interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
During COVID, right?
Yeah, and like no one dreamed of Persona being on anything but like PlayStation. And then all of a sudden they started just bam, 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 putting it on everything.
Yeah, I mean, Atlas knows how to print money at this point. Like they put so many different like Persona games on there, and obviously now they're releasing that gacha Persona 5 game, Persona 5 Phantom X or whatever. It's so weird. I don't even want to get into it because I'll do a whole episode just dedicated on it, because like some of the crew are like super hyped about it because they're like, this game was only released in China, and I'm like, yeah, but it's a gacha game. There's no real game,
Yeah,
you know. So
there was a time where I'd play anything Persona related that came out. I'm not interested in the gacha game.
Well, maybe they can get you interested. I don't know. What would what would you say is the weirdest Persona game that you've played?
Ooh, there are some weird ones. I mean, I think I just have to go with dancing.
Okay.
It's just a rhythm. It's just a rhythm game. They have some interesting spin-offs, but I mean, the dancing games are just, I think they're probably the weirdest of the weird.
You know what? I thought you were gonna say Persona Q.
I was thinking Persona Q.
And it's an interesting
I really
one.
love those games, but yeah, they're weird too. But they're really good.
One thing I thought that was very odd about it was the fact that they didn't release them anywhere else. They were just stuck on the 3DS.
Oh yeah, well even now the 3DS shop is down. It's like, where are you gonna get Persona Q?
You can't, exactly. And that's the thing, is all these prices are going to go up for like physical editions. I don't think they did Q2. I think Q2 was like digital only. So I'm kind of worried. And then, you know what? I think they might just do like a PC port. They'll have to. Or Switch 2, actually, come to think.
I really hope so. Persona Q2, I feel like that had a physical though. I feel like I've seen the physicals go for like a crazy amount of money.
In Europe, we don't really get to see, especially with JRPGs, we really don't get to see a lot of physicals. It will get a physical in America and then just not come here.
A different region might be different. Maybe they didn't release it over there.
I don't think people care that much about Q. I remember when it came out and like Atlas were begging me, please can you review this? And I was like, I'm not interested. I mean, it's kind of like Etrian Odyssey, and I'm like, I don't care for this type of game, you know? But that's just my opinion. I know some people will kind of like crucify me in the comments, but you know, when you're used to a certain type of RPG and you kind of transition over, it can get a bit jarring. One thing that I did want to ask you was, you mentioned that your kind of primary focus now is more NIS titles. And what kind of draws you to those NIS titles?
A mix of, I guess, a few factors. I mean, the fact that most of my audience found my channel through the Disgaea guide, so it was kind of a natural progression. I really wanted my channel to be kind of a hodgepodge of things, though. I wanted to start a YouTube channel for a long time because I really liked video games, and I was playing a lot of video games. I wanted to do something productive with it. I thought it would be cool to kind of have a platform and just kind of showcase it in some form or fashion. So I really wanted the channel to be kind of featuring anything and everything that I was playing, which is why if you go to the earlier days of my channel, I had reviews on all sorts of things. I did the Like a Dragon Gaiden game when it came out. I've done like the Azure Striker Gunvolt games. I've done, you know, a lot of things. But NIS games, I think, kind of fascinated me because through the Disgaea games, you get a glimpse into like the rest of the NIS world. Like they do so much in their games in terms of crossover content and referencing their other works, and I really just like the idea of exploring this entire, I guess, sphere of games and just seeing kind of what they're all about. Like obviously a lot of them are a lot more obscure, so I thought it would be fun to just explore them and give them a little bit of a spotlight and, you know, experience some games that I wouldn't have otherwise. So and it was again a natural progression because of my audience was already kind of there for NIS stuff from the Disgaea stuff. So that's kind of how I started doing a lot more NIS centric videos.
See, it's very interesting because, like, for me, NIS is a very different company. Because obviously, you know, you're based in America, right? So it's kind of like the main publishing house for the NIS titles, that the Nipponichi software titles have kind of come over and get localized. But for me, it's weird because NIS, as I mentioned before, it is a localization house, but it's like for games that we wouldn't necessarily get in Europe. Like I mentioned, Persona 4, we got Danganronpa in Europe through NIS America as well, and so many other games.
Yeah,
like they were doing like Idea Factory games at one point, and I think like Gust games, so like the Atelier series and all of that. So for me, it's always been a bit of a weird one. I never really experienced NIS through games like Disgaea and stuff like that because it was just never here. I mean, it might have been, but it was kind of like obscure. I don't think they were really well known. What is it about the Disgaea series in particular that you love and enjoy?
I kind of a hard one. I don't think I would like it nearly as much if I hadn't been such a completionist about them. I think being able to explore, I got into like 100%ing things like right before I played Disgaea. Like I played Soul Hackers 2 right before Disgaea 1 in like early 2023. Accidentally almost got all the achievements. And I was like, you know what? Let's just see what I have to do for the rest of them. Why not? And I had a lot of fun getting them because I got to explore more of the game that I hadn't. So I was like, yeah, I want to keep doing this. And then I threw myself right into the Crucible, unknowingly, with Disgaea 1. But that kind of it ties into the question because I just getting to explore all those deeper mechanics and like the entire post game and kind of the grind of it all and showing off those kind of optimal builds that there really isn't much accessible information out there about. I don't know, there was something really intriguing to me about it. And Disgaea in particular and other NIS RPGs are so unique, I guess, in their execution of all their mechanics. They're super experimental. They have that, obviously they have that charming humor to them. I guess a lot of those factors just really made me fall in love with Disgaea and keep playing the series.
One thing that I am actually quite intrigued about, obviously you mentioned that there isn't much information online with regards to the Disgaea series in terms of all the deeper mechanics and whatnot. Is there something that you think is behind that? Like, is there a reason why a lot of YouTubers might not really focus their time on a series like that because there is a lot of content in there?
I think that's just it. It's just because there's a lot of content. Like most people just play the main story and that's it. But Disgaea goes further. I don't know if like any other RPG does. I mean, I'm sure there are other RPGs that do something similar, but the group of people that go into all that extra post-game content and grinding and everything is going to be much smaller. I also blame the death of forums. To be honest, everything seems just concentrated into like private Discord servers now. Like if you join the Disgaea Discord, there's going to be people who know what they're talking about and who can tell you all this stuff. But if you're just like someone like me at the time who was just playing the game, trying to figure out what I'm doing, it's a lot of sifting through like decade-old forum posts and like public posts online that are really old and having to research all this very specific information. And that's kind of what made me want to make guides in the first place, because I'm like, there needs to just be something that condenses all of this information into like one thing, because just for a better experience, I guess. That's kind of what I mean by that.
Okay, that's interesting. Would you say that the Disgaea series is not necessarily as friendly as other games for like newcomers? I know like the newer games tend to be a little bit more, but if you wanted to go with the first game, for example, I remember during COVID I started playing that and I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like I genuinely did not know how to play the game or anything like that, and it frustrated me because, as you said, you know, there wasn't a lot of content online, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna forget about this game and play something else. So do you find that is a little bit of a pain point for the series?
It's hard to say. It feels like a lot of that's only relevant to, I don't want to say more like hardcore players, but like you can go through Disgaea pretty casually, like if you're just going through the main story. And I think the depth that it provides with all the deeper mechanics that don't exactly get explained a lot to you, it kind of lends itself well to the feeling of exploring and just experimenting and testing things out, because you will find a lot of cool stuff. And I think that's part of what makes them, such unique RPGs. But yeah, if you're really trying to understand what's going on, it can be difficult.
One other thing that I wanted to mention, and I think this might be the last point that I want to talk about Disgaea, because I feel like I'm talking so much about it. A lot of fans have had issues with the art style change, and obviously you kind of came in more recently, so I don't think you would have been as affected by it. But there's a lot of fans that have been playing the game since, donkey's years, since it was on the PlayStation 2 up until now, and they're not too happy with the sort of sprite changes. What is your opinions on it?
I absolutely prefer the older art style. Well, I did play the series in order. I'm generally kind of a freak about playing in release order, and so I did start with Disgaea 1, and I got to see, that's kind of why I like doing that. I really like to see that kind of progression and how the series has grown and changed over time. So I did start with Disgaea PC, where they had the original pixel art sprites. And then the 2D era with like 4 and 5 and Disgaea D2, and then Disgaea 6 they started doing the 3D, which I really am not fond of. I can see where the disdain comes from, for sure.
And do you think NAS should just revert back to the old style, or at least offer both styles? Because I know that there are some kind of games that have remakes and stuff where they have the original pixel art and the new style, and you can kind of toggle between the two, kind of like Advanced Wars on the Nintendo Switch. So do you kind of feel that they should do that for the Disgaea series as well?
That would be really cool, honestly. Given the choice, like purely for aesthetic purposes, I'd totally rather them just do like the 2D art like they did with 4 and 5. I think they've been in kind of financial trouble for a while, though. So realistically, I don't know if that's feasible, because I think 3D is a lot cheaper. But if they can do it, I mean, yeah, the 2D art sprites, I think, are so much better.
Okay. One question that I wanted to ask in regards to JRPGs is, what is some of the key characteristics or tropes within JRPGs that you find most appealing and attractive?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, I guess there are a lot of tropes. I've always been drawn towards kind of like, I don't know if this is a Persona specific thing or RPGs in general, but a lot of Persona games have, or at least 3, 4, and 5 are kind of known for having like that best friend character, the kind of bro who's maybe not that smart but is very loyal and very just very kind. That always warms my heart, and that's definitely one of my favorite kind of characterizations or tropes that you see in a lot of RPGs.
You know what? I absolutely hate that. I absolutely hate it. I hate it so much, because you have Brosuke Hanamura, I hate him.
Yosuke's the GOAT.
He's so shit. I'm sorry to say that. He's actually so shit. It's unreal. Like, how can he be that dumb?
Now you're going to tell me you're a Junpei fan.
Why would I say that? Everyone said...
I don't like Junpei.
Okay, cool. Junpei's so... I'm sorry. This is getting heated. Junpei is such a better character compared to Yosuke. Okay? Yosuke is just perverted. All he thinks about is just girls. And I was like, come on, just stop it. Okay?
That was my problem with Junpei.
Yeah, but Junpei's such a better...
Yukari.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Look, Junpei is such a better character. He's better written. Okay? And the thing is, Yukari, she's not cool about it, but she calls him out on his shit. And that causes him to change.
That is very funny.
No one calls out Yosuke at all. Okay, maybe by GA once. But like, the relationship is not the same with Yukari and Junpei. You can't compare the two. Yeah, but he learns. Yeah, okay, are you telling me? Okay, I don't want to give spoilers for Persona 3 because it obviously got re-released, right? But after certain points in the game, you don't think he's changed? He changes.
No, he has. His growth is
there
really
you go.
nice.
Yeah.
I
don't get that with Yosuke.
Down with him. His first impressions just soured me too much.
Yeah, but that's the point.
If I played it again, I'm sure
he's supposed to be like soured, and then you kind of love him. You're like, oh my god, I don't want anything bad to happen to him. And then you see Yosuke Hanamura, and you're like, fuck him, man. Like, just delete him from the game. You know what I mean?
I have the first Persona game bias.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, technically, that was my first Persona game as well. And then I played 3, and then I played 5. And obviously, I played the earlier ones as well.
But the exact same thing.
But you know what? What about, what's his name? I forgot his name. He's so forgettable. Ryuji.
In 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't
For real?
in Ryuji either.
He's so shit. I hate him so
We
much.
can agree on that.
And there'll be people in the
Found common
comments.
ground.
There'll be people in the comments that are like, I love Ryuji. I'm like, no, he's so shit. The
Most
moment
people do.
But why? He's actually such a shit character. He's actually so shit. I would say he's worse than Yosuke Hanamura.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing we can agree on with Persona.
I just kind of found him annoying. I think he just like genuinely caused problems with the group, and I think that's just why I couldn't get down with him.
Who are we
And
talking
I don't
about?
think they pulled off the like his charm as much as
He's
they
not.
did
He's
with
not
Yosuke
supposed to be
and, like,
charming.
even
I think
Junpei.
maybe they knew that they're not gonna like the sidekick character, so let's make him as shit as possible. Like I've never actively hated a party member in a Persona game until Ryuji came along. Like genuinely, as soon as he
crazy.
comes in and I can swap him out, I swapped him out. I don't even do his social links. Like I genuinely do not give a shit. Like why am I supposed to care about him? He's just too much. Like he's genuinely too much. I don't know. He's like all the worst parts of Junpei and Yosuke and just put together, and it's like, here you go. I genuinely don't like him. I genuinely hate him so much. It's just
Wow,
a
is he your
passion.
least favorite Persona character?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's like the worst Persona out of all the characters, other than Morgana. He's the worst character.
Nah, Morgana's fine.
No, Morgana's shit.
He's not worse than Teddy.
No, Teddy's amazing. What are you talking about?
Teddy's terrible.
What? Dude, I'm gonna kick you off this call right now. Why do you hate Teddy?
No, wait.
Teddy's amazing.
But Bear.
Yeah, Bear. He's a bear.
Bear, and I want
Doesn't
to turn
matter.
my computer off.
Doesn't matter. It's very, very good. I don't mind. I love him.
I'll hang up myself then.
Yeah, dude. If you want, I don't give a shit. No, I'm joking. But no, seriously, I think he's a better character. He kind of comes to terms with himself. He knows he's not human. He comes to terms with that. And then Morgana's like, I'm not a cat. I'm like, okay, Morgana, I don't care. All right, you are a fucking cat. We can see that you're a cat. So what the hell are you? I genuinely, I don't have any respect for Morgana. And the fact that Morgana's telling me to sleep 24/7, I would hate that. I would hate it. And the fact that he turns into a bus. This is not My Neighbor
That's just
Totoro.
funny.
No, it's stupid. It's actually so stupid. Like, why does
no
he have
joy in
such an
whimsy.
opinion? Huh?
No joy in whimsy.
No joy at all. You're complaining about a guy in a bear costume. And I'm having
There's no
issues
one in
with this
there.
cat.
It's empty.
Yeah. Is that not whimsical? That is amazing.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Yeah, exactly. So you have no
Yeah,
right
it's
to
pretty-
say
it's
that
pretty
about
sick.
him.
You're right.
No one likes. Actually, no. There'll be probably people that love Morgana. I think you know what. One thing I just don't like about Morgana is just whiny. He's so whiny, and he has an obsession with Ann. Like, why? Like, I don't get it. It's odd.
Yeah,
And he's not even useful. I'm sorry to say that.
that's true. You can bench him pretty early.
Exactly. He's not Komaru from Persona 3.
No, Kamar. Yeah, okay. We can agree on.
Now he's a
Kamaru.
good boy. That's what we love. And
He's
then-
better than both of them.
Exactly. Yeah. Komaru, 100%
Yeah,
better than.
okay, let's
But
go.
you know who's better than all of them? Fuka. Don't tell me you don't like Fuka.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I like Fuka.
I'm just putting that out there because if you're like, no, I fucking hate Fuka, you're out of here. I would have actually ended the call.
Nah.
Good. That's what we like.
We
That's
love
what we like to
and
say.
appreciate Fuka. in this
Exactly.
household.
You know what? She's just so. I don't know what about Fuka. It's like she's so out of it. She's living in a whole different planet.
She is.
I don't know. And she's just so derpy. I don't know. It's like, I don't get that derpiness from her in the remake, but in the original, when she's like,
Yeah, I haven't played the remake, to be honest.
oh,
I
you should.
played
So
Fest.
good. So good.
She is very. She's just kind. And
She's
precious.
kind and she doesn't know
can
how
do
to
no
cook.
wrong.
She likes to cook, but she doesn't know how to.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I think there's just something nice about Fuka. And I mean, if you've done her social link, it's quite heartbreaking as well. I don't know. I think also you need to play the remake because it is actually a badass game. I think it's one of the best Persona games
Oh yeah.
ever.
I heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah. And to be fair with you, it's very interesting because there's a lot of people out there that have only played Persona because of Persona 5. And they were like,
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to play Persona 3 because it's so old. And I'm like, okay, they remade it. Go and play it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like sometimes there are games like that. And that's one question for you. Obviously, we were talking about like games like Disgaea and other JRPGs like that. But if you're going back and you're playing a lot of these older JRPGs, which are kind of gems, right? how do you kind of overcome the poor game mechanics? Because, you know, there's been a lot of advancements in games over the years. How do you kind of go back to a simpler time?
You just gotta tank it.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of just like accept that that's just how it was, and I don't really feel annoyed by it. I don't know. I can't really have like a specific answer for that. I more of just look at, I don't know what it's trying to do. I guess I'm just generally not as bothered by that kind of thing. I think it's because I really just expect it at this point, and I have played a lot at this point, so I kind of vaguely know what I'm getting myself into, and you know that's fine.
And I'm guessing also playing the game from the first one also helps, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
How is it that you went from Persona 4 Golden, which had a lot of quality of life improvements and the ability to actually, you know, play and choose your teammates' attacks and whatnot, to playing Persona 3, which didn't have that?
With much difficulty.
Okay.
I do remember being astonished because I didn't know that about Persona 3, that you couldn't control your party members. It's the, I don't know, what do they call it? The tactic system or whatever, where you have to just kind of select general kinds of actions you want them to do automatically. I did not know that. I was sitting there with Persona 3 in front of me, trying to like Google, how do I make my party members do what I want them to do? And the answer is literally just, you can't.
Or the answer would be buy Persona 3 Portable. Yeah, because you can do that in Persona 3 Portable.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. And I think it's probably because a lot of people they knew that a lot of people were going to come from Persona 4, which had that. And I think there's also a secret Yukiko cameo in Persona 3 Portable.
Really?
Yeah. Well, she's young. I think she's like, obviously because it's set in around the same timelines, and it's technically sort of established them in the same universe, but like she's younger and she's like on a holiday or something. I can't remember because it's been so long. But yeah, to be fair with you, hot take here, but I actually think Persona 3 Portable is better than Fez.
Really?
Yeah, I know
That's
it sounds
crazy.
so dumb because obviously you don't have the ability to walk around the overworld and stuff, but purely for the sake that you get a female pro tag and you get all new social links. Like for me, Persona was all about social links. I couldn't really care about the story initially, but yeah, as long as I'm getting more social links, I'm good with that. And also, I don't like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wasn't really a fan of how Persona 3 ended. It was actually quite depressing for me. You know, so I'm not
play the answer.
I have, but it's been a long time, so I need to play it in terms of the remake. But I did play it originally, and I wasn't too happy with the answer. You know.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that
Yeah,
one.
and also the fact that you could only play as what was her name? The robot. What was her name? Dude. I guess. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of Igus. You know?
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Igus, and I'm not a fan of her robot friend in the answer.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they don't do much with her.
No.
I actually don't remember her name off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
no one cares about. Yeah, whatever. No one cares about her. I think more people care more about Labris from Persona 3.
Oh, I
fighting.
love Labris.
See, everyone loves Labris. No one remembers the other one, you know? Do you think that they're going to make a Persona 5 fighting game? I think they need to.
People have been talking about that a lot recently. It's just surprising they haven't at this point. I haven't had my finger on the pulse of like Persona discussion or stuff like in a while, but it's, I mean, hey, I'd like to see it happen. I think it would be super cool.
I think so too. And I think Atlas is one of those companies that even if they pump out nonsense, I'll buy it. You know, I played Q. I played Dancing All Night. You know, I'm down for anything that they release. But I'm kind of waiting for them to do more remakes because a lot of people are like, oh, Persona 4 remake is coming out soon or whatever, which makes sense. To be fair with you, I think that we're going to see a Persona 4 remake before 6, but I also want to see a remake of 1 and 2. Like, why can't we get that?
Too.
You know,
they're really good games.
They are, and the story is so much better. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. But it's like
honestly,
it goes back to that point where it's like no one really wants to play these older games because it's like, yeah, I'm not a fan of the art style, and I'm not a fan of this, and I'm not a fan of that, but I'm like, yeah, but you're missing out on a lot of good games, all right? Like,
You know what? Playing Persona 1 is what broke me into like being fine with playing older games, because
Okay.
I will admit Persona 1 was a miserable experience.
it
I liked the characters and the story and everything. It's just the gameplay really just isn't there.
Did you
And I
play-
would love to see them polish that.
Did you play the original PS1 version, or you played like the
No,
PSP?
actually. I played the PSP.
Okay, so if you played, it was a lot harsher on the PS1. Like,
Yeah,
if you were
agree.
complaining about the PSP, the PS1 version, oof. Oh man, it was bad. I mean, bad by today's standards. You know, when we're seeing games like Persona 5 and whatnot. I'm actually intrigued now, because going back to NIS, they've got so many different games, right? What is your all-time favorite NIS title, and what makes it special?
I might have to say ZHP, to be honest.
What is that?
There's so many more I still have to play. It's ZHP, Unlosing Ranger versus Dark Death Evil Man. It's a very tokusatsu inspired game. It released in 2010, very end of the PSP's lifetime. It released before the PSP.
Okay.
And it's a dungeon crawler.
Okay.
Well, not dungeon crawler. A mystery dungeon game.
Oh, okay. You lost me at Mystery Dungeon.
Oh, really?
So it's
To be
like,
fair, that's kind of the first mystery dungeon game I've actually played. I never really have gotten into that genre.
okay.
That was quite the experience. But no, it's an incredible game. It's the story's really good. It's got really good humor. I mean, it's funny as hell. It has just a bunch of, again, these like experimental mechanics that you would expect from an NIS RPG. If you've done Disgaea 4 stuff, one of the major characters in that game, Pirihiko Ichimonji, was a guest character in Disgaea 4. They've also used the final boss of the game as other bosses in Disgaea. Dark Death Evil Man, he was in Disgaea D2. He's also an optional boss you can find in the item world in Disgaea 5. So there's a little bit of crossover there. But that's how I initially was kind of exposed to it. And I read more into like what these things are from. And I was like, oh my god, ZHP sounds awesome. And so I just really wanted to play it. And
So-
it is probably my favorite one.
Okay. So how did you actually get to play the game? Because obviously this title is an original PSP. Did you get to play it through the
it did get ported on
NIS?
PC, so it's on Steam now.
Okay. Because I know that
although they had to cut a lot of content, unfortunately.
So why do you think that was? To put it on the PC to cut content? I've never heard of that before.
It is. They licensed a bunch of content, and that's everything that got cut. So it's probably licensing issues. Dengeki Bunko characters.
Oh,
I don't know much about it.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that's it's like an animation studio, or they have a lot of like anime under their belt. They have a lot of Dengeki Bunko guest characters in the original ZHP, and they have like their own dungeons and everything. And they completely axed all of that in the PC version, unfortunately, and the Switch version. They released on Switch as well.
On Switch, was it part of a compilation game, right?
It was the Prinny Presents. Yeah, I don't remember which one, but it was in one of them.
You know what my favorite NIS America game is? Take a guess.
Supposed to be obvious.
No, it's not. I just want you to
I
guess.
have no idea. They have so many games.
It's Criminal Girls, and I know so many people hate.
Oh,
It's a bit of a weird one, and I kind of want to see more of that series. But it was actually one of the NIS America team, part of the localization team, was like, "You'll love this game," and I was like, "This game seems so weird." They gave me a code for it, and I got kind of scared because I thought it was like a special uncensored version of the game, and I was like shitting my pants. Like I was playing this game on the Vita in a public train.
Oh no.
Without headphones, and I didn't know what the hell this game was, and I was like, oh my god, what the hell. I had to get off the train. They asked me to get off the train. They were like, sir, you can't do this on the train. I don't know if it was going to get to the point where I was going to get arrested or something, like for public indecency or something like that, but they were like, no, you got to get off the train. And I was like, shit, man. And then now to this day I still play that game. Never will bring any game consoles on a train or any public transport, right? Even the Switch, I keep it at home. I don't bring it outside because you never know, right? Like I was playing this game thinking, yeah, it's pretty cool. And then you play those motivation scenes, you're like, oh my god, like what the hell? But what I like about the game is it's more, and I think that's the same with a lot of NIS titles. It's like they have this sort of thing to draw you in, like a gimmick or something like that, whether it's like art style or a particular game mechanic or something like that. And then you get hit with the story and you're like, oh, what the hell? I didn't expect to cry. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. It actually has a good story.
It has such an amazing story. When you get deep into it, like you have to get like halfway through the game and then the story hits you like a bus. And then
I have the first one.
Dude, play it. It's a really good game. I mean, if you might have to sort of forget about all of those, and it's a shame because the punishment mechanics in the game are core gameplay mechanics. Like you can't avoid it. Like you need to do them to progress through the game. I mean, if you're okay with that, then the game is absolutely fantastic in terms of story because you learn why these girls go to hell and you know their stories and it is actually very heartwarming. Like I cried so many times playing that game and the second one. And another game that I think I would also say is one of my favorite NIS titles is Poison Control.
Really?
Yeah, it's a dumb game. As a game, it's very.
I have played that one. It's pretty good.
I mean, I'm not a fan of the gameplay mechanic. Like it's kind of like Pac-Man and Splatoon. I'm not a fan of it. But in terms of story and the fact that it's pretty much fully voice acted, it is actually a pretty fun game. Like I actually like it. And once again, the story is very reminiscent of something like Criminal Girls, like in terms of why these characters are in hell effectively. And the art style is good. I think for me, with a lot of NIS titles, if the art style is good, we're going in, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the way the game looks is great. Like, its overall style and presentation is top notch.
Yeah, 100%.
Actually, it's really funny that you mentioned like those games that should have been my go-to guess, because you were actually mentioning right at the beginning of the episode that I kind of just like found your account and found your podcast. I can tell you how that happened.
Okay.
It was that exact episode. You did an episode where you talked about both Criminal Girls and Poison Control.
Wow.
Because I had just played Poison Control and I was looking at who had like what kind of content like has been made around it recently. And that's where I stumbled on like your YouTube upload of that episode. And I was like, oh, you know, I really like, you know, I really like what he's doing and like talking about NIS games. You know, obviously you don't see that very often. So that's basically it. I kind of just stumbled on it because I was specifically looking for Poison Control stuff. And then I started following.
It's you know what, that's actually pretty surprising because that's such an old ass episode. And I remember because I got the code during COVID, I think something like that, and I didn't release the episode until like 2 years later because I couldn't bring myself to record it, you know.
Really?
Yeah, it was just so difficult to record because it was like coming off from COVID, and it's like, man, like it was a depressing era. And, you know, playing a game called Poison Control was not necessarily, you know, the best. It's not necessarily the best for like mental health and all that. So it was a very difficult one to record. Obviously, looking back at it now, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, there shouldn't have been a problem to record it. It's very interesting as well because you mentioned a lot of people don't necessarily cover NIS. I think for me, NIS has always been a very important games publisher and developer for the podcast because they were the first people, I mean, other than Marvelous, they were like one of the first people to actually give me codes and take me seriously, which was really good. And we went to see their offices, and there was one recording that we did, or maybe two recordings we did with Alan Costa, who's like the head of NIS America. And
I did listen to one of those.
And I didn't even realize at the time, like he was the main guy. He was such, like if you ever get to meet him in real life, he's such a humble guy. Like, I didn't even realize at the time. They were like, oh, yeah, it's Alan from NIS. They didn't tell me who he was. And I was like, okay, cool. This guy seems cool. Like, he's talking about the games that I like. And then he gives me his business card. I'm like, holy sheep.
He's like the guy.
He is NIS America, you know? He's Mr. NIS. You know?
Did not know that.
No, yeah. He's such a lovely guy. He's just genuinely such a nice guy. And he knows his stuff. Like, I was like, damn, this guy knows everything. Like, he must be a big fan. And then I realized, well, he's a producer in a lot of these games.
Kind of his job.
Yeah, it would be very upsetting if he didn't know, you know? But yeah, no, that's why that's my connection with NIS America. And I think anytime they request, like, anytime they're like, hey, we got this game, I'm willing to pick it up because it's like I have that sort of personal relationship with them. I think as a publisher and the stuff that they do, I'm interested in a lot of their works, but I wouldn't say that every game is for me. And that's very interesting because a lot of their stuff is quite varied. Like, not everyone is going to love every NIS title, right? You'll get people like me that I absolutely despise Disgaea, but I'll play Criminal Girls or I'll play any of their other titles. But and then you'll get people who are just religiously Disgaea fans and things like that. So I think it's kind of good that they pick up a lot of different things because it kind of branches out their audience. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah, no, that's super cool.
Yeah.
They have so much stuff. I mean, I know them much more from the developer side of things, what NIS Japan makes, like Disgaea and Phantom Brave and those kind of that side of things. Then you have NIS America, the publisher, who will bring all that stuff over, but then a whole bunch of other stuff from all different developers. And that is really cool. Like, I know they have, at least over here, I don't know about Europe, at least over here they have Trails under their belt. They have what's the other big one? Ease. They've been doing a bunch of these kind of big series, and that's what a lot of people over here know NIS for, like Trails and Ease, and I am like completely on the other side of that. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, man. I think also at the same time, it's like in Europe, like if you played any JRPG, like there are two companies that at least in the early days, Koei Tecmo and NIS America, because they were like the only people that were bringing games overseas, right? With NIS America, it was like Danganronpa and like Persona series, and Koei Tecmo as well. They were bringing over like Persona and like other games like that. So how do you approach deciding on which RPGs and JRPGs to feature on your channel? What goes into that selection process?
At this point, if it's an NIS RPG, I'm making a video on it at some point. Anything else, it's really just personal preference. Like I said, I kind of still have that spirit about my channel of the fact that it's just any game that I'm interested in or anything I'm kind of playing currently. I like to show off. I like to explore. I like to kind of dive into and showcase on my channel. So there are definitely series that I have in the chamber, so to speak, that I have in my head that I really want to get into and want to do videos about. Neptunia is a big one. I've actually started playing that already.
Okay.
I'm playing a couple different versions of the first one.
Okay.
So that's kind of something I'm excited to dive into. That's always been kind of a fascination for me. But other series like like maybe like Tales of, or it's really just whatever like I want to play. I guess it also factors into my audience, who in the NIS sphere is also going to be like, how much overlap is there? Like when it comes to Neptunia, there's probably automatically a lot of overlap. I mean, NIS America did, I think, the originals. They published those. So that kind of, I guess, all those factors.
Okay, that's very interesting because it's like, do you ever have like a feeling where there is a game that you really want to play and you're like, my audience is not going to like that, so I'll avoid it?
Oh, all the time.
How do you kind of overcome that?
I did a video a while ago on God of War, of all things.
Okay.
Which is so far outside of what I had done so far, but it was that feeling of, I knew my audience might not like jive with it. And that video absolutely bombed, don't get me wrong. But it's just, as a series, it's one of those things where it's just like, I really just want to get into like, a short, non-committal action game series. Like God of War just looks so cool. And I've played the first few games at this point, but I really only did a video on the first one, I think because of that, because I just felt so weird about putting that out. Like I wrote the script, I recorded it, I made the entire video, and then I released it, and I was just like, what am I doing? Like, I've lost the plot, so to speak. And I don't know if that's really the right feeling to have, because at the end of the day, it's just games that I want to play. Like, this is what I want to do. But then at the same time, I feel like there's a big disconnect between what my audience wants, what I've been doing so far, versus like, I don't know, like a God of War video. And I think that's just the most extreme example. But there have definitely been a lot of videos I've made that I'm like, I don't know if people would be into this, or it's like a more kind of out there thing. like off the top of my head, like again, Yakuza, Like a Dragon Gaiden, you know, I did that when it first came out. I guess that had more buzz around it just because it was brand new at the time, but Yakuza is definitely like pretty far removed as well. So I do get that feeling all the time, but at the end of the day, I guess it's just I want to weigh how much personal satisfaction am I going to get from this? Like, is that gonna make it worth it, even if the video doesn't do well, I guess.
That's interesting. I mean, for me, I kind of go through that a lot personally. Like, originally when the channel started, or I'd say channel, it's not even a channel, Jesus. When the podcast started, it kind of focused a lot on like hack and slash games. So like Americans, you'd call it Dynasty Warriors. In the UK, we call it Dynasty Warriors, stuff like that. And then I started doing like, I fell in love with Danganronpa and like Persona 4. And I was like, I want to do Persona 4 content. And the amount of people that dropped off, they were like, no, we're not interested in this. And they were like downvoting, and it was horrible. And I was like, oh my God, but I really want to talk about it. And then it kind of got to a point where it dipped. And then a lot of new listeners came in, and they were really chill. They were like, hell yeah, we're in for it. We love Persona. And then it came to a point where it's like, it kind of stops being about the game that you're covering. And I think it happens with a lot of creators when they get to a certain point. It stops being about the game you're covering and more about you and your personality and how you talk about that game. Because I kind of feel like a lot of people get into this sort of idea where it's like, I don't want to upset my followers. I don't want to upset like my community. But at the end of the day, if you want to do what you want to do, and I think that's where the best content comes out of, you know, like I'm watching your content. I'm like, damn, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. But it's clear from the video, he loves what he's doing. And that's kind of what makes it enjoyable for the audience. At least that's my personal opinion, you know? So like, I think for anyone that's listening that kind of wants to get into like that sort of content creation, what sort of advice do you have for them?
I honestly, yeah, along those lines, like just do it. Honestly, it sounds really basic, but from my experience, I finally launched my channel because I had the very specific idea of doing like a comprehensive guide on Disgaea, but for a long time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when I did that, I'm like, well, these guys take a long time. I want to keep doing stuff in between them because I don't want these long, you know, upload droughts or whatever. I'll just pick a game and just talk about it and just see what happens. And that's where I got, you know, all these different kinds of games I was covering in the early days of my channel. And you kind of just figure it out from there. Like if you don't know what you want to do, like honestly, just try stuff. Like you might not get traction, or you might not be good at it. If you've never done it before, you probably won't be good at it. Like I look back at my older videos and I'm just like, I feel like I'm better now, which is good. You know, that's a good feeling to have. But like, just kind of go for it. And you can work from there. You can adjust yourself. You'll start knowing what does or doesn't work, or what you even want to do or don't want to do. Because if you don't do it, nothing's gonna happen. And I feel like that's where I'm at right now. Like I feel extremely lucky and extremely thankful to kind of have the following I do and have the videos under my belt that I do. Like I can look back on my channel and be like I've done all this. Like that's crazy. And that's kind of just like my own personal satisfaction. But yeah, honestly, just the more you do, the more you learn, and hopefully you'll grow along the way.
Yeah, 100% you'll grow. Like I know when I started the podcast, like it's the 15th year of the show, and it's like when I'm 30 now. I started when I was 15, so I was like pretty squeaky. I was like, hey guys, you know what I mean? And it was like your change in games your taste in games change over time. The way that you produce videos kind of, you ease up a little bit, because I think that there's almost this, when you start, you're like, I need to have everything perfect. I need to have a good microphone. I need to have a good I need to get a capture card. Like sometimes, even if you have like the basic stuff, I think it kind of works out as long as you sort of become comfortable and like ease yourself into it. One other thing that I was kind of wanting to round off the episode with, for new people who are interested in the NIS catalog, what games would you recommend that they start with? Is there any sort of good entry points into NIS America or Nipponichi Software, or any sort of must-play title?
I mean, I've got to start with Disgaea. That's really what I know most. Disgaea 5 probably, because it has so much quality of life. There are so many mechanics to Disgaea 5 in relation to the others, but there's also a lot more quality of life. It looks a lot better visually, and you know, it's fun to play. Like, you know, we were talking about the older games having much less much less kind of quality of life. And yeah, you can tell like when you play the new games and go back to the older Disgaea games, you can definitely tell. But I'd say if you're like brand new and want just an entry point, I think Disgaea 5 is a really good one.
And on that same topic, on the flip side, is there any games within the library that you feel needs a little bit more love, that are like hidden gems?
I think literally all of them.
Okay.
They have such a vast, and again, like this is for me exploring kind of like their developer side of things. They have a ton of games that just never got much recognition. You know, not a lot of which I've been covering on the channel recently. Like one I played fairly recently is called like A Rose in the Twilight. It's a very puzzle oriented game. It released for the Vita, but honestly, like it's a really good puzzle game, and I think that could stand to get a lot more love. Just a lot of games like that. Obviously, they're older RPGs. Like I wish they were more popular. Disgaea, even now, is like their flagship series, and it's still considered pretty niche, which is crazy. So that's kind of why I say all of them. If I had to pick one out, I mean ZHP. Incredibly biased on that one, but I think ZHP got really shafted because it released very end of the PSP's life, and I don't think many people really cared about the PSP, but it is such a fantastic game. So that would be like, if I had like one personal call out of a game that deserves more attention, and a surprising amount of people who I've talked to who know the NIS sphere, you know, even like you just now, like have never heard of ZHP.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of surprising. So yeah, that one deserves more love for sure.
If you could be any character from any JRPG, who would it be and why?
If I could be any character?
Yeah, if you could be any character, who would you be?
I know it's a very difficult one.
Yeah. It's a very difficult one.
No.
What, you're gonna say Yosuke Hanamura?
I was not gonna say
yeah,
Yosuke.
you were gonna say Yosuke.
I might consider it now. I don't know. I really gotta think on that one.
Okay. All right, while you think, I'll tell you who mine is. I want to be Igor from the Persona series.
Really?
Yes. It's so cool. Like, he seems so chill. You know why? It's because he gets to fuck around all day, right? We don't really know what he does, right? He's just there in the Velvet Room. You know, the Velvet Room has different styles. One is a limo. So sometimes he gets to drive around in a limo, you know? And then other times he's in a elevator. Other times he's in a prison. And I think it's pretty cool because there's other Velvet Room people that you don't see in the more future games, but you know they're still there. Like, obviously, you mentioned you've played the original Persona. The guy that plays the theme song, right? He's still there. Oh, yeah. But I think only Igor can see him now. So I'd like to be Igor for that reason, you know? Like just being there, and his companions seem really interesting to talk to, you know? I think that would be cool. And also, he's the one that's actually fusing these personas together. So he has so much power, you know?
That is true. I wonder how he does that.
Yeah, I just want to be him. And also he has a amazing nose. I love it. It just, you know, like SpongeBob when he plays the flute on his nose?
Yeah.
I think
Igor could do that.
Yeah, Igor could do that 100%. But that's what I love about Igor. I think his voice is just so creepy. Oh
my god, I love it. Listening to his voice.
Welcome to the Velvet Room. I love it.
To the Velvet Room.
Yeah. They changed his voice as well, and I got really upset by that. But I think it's because his voice actor died.
Wait, really?
Yeah, the Japanese voice actor died, and then they replaced him with Persona 5. I think that's, I don't even want to spoil Persona 5, but if you've played other Persona games before playing Persona 5, you know that there's something up when you first hear Igor, because obviously it's a different style of voice. But yeah, it's because they changed the voice actor. But even then, like his voice in English has changed so many times. Igor for me he's just a great character. I just love him. I'm surprised you can't really do like a real social link with him. I would like that. Imagine playing a Persona game where you play as Elizabeth.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. And then that way you can actually have a proper social link with Igor. That's the only reason. I don't care about anything else.
The other Velvet Room attendants too. Like Theodore from Portable, or maybe even
Theodore's not canon, so I mean,
all right.
You know, although Theodore is in the Persona 4 fighting games, right? I think.
Is he?
I think so.
I think so.
Which would make him canon because those games are apparently canon. So Theodore, and then you have the twins.
Right.
They freak me out, man. Margaret. Yeah, we love Margaret. I love Margaret so much. But I think Elizabeth is so much better though, because Margaret just doesn't care at one point.
No, I agree. Elizabeth is funny.
She's funny and she goes all out. She didn't need to do that, you know?
Mhm.
Well, obviously this is hitting spoiler territory, but yeah, she didn't need to do that. And then I just don't like those twins. They creep me out so much. And I wonder what the new one's going to be. Like, who's the new Velvet Room assistant? I wonder, are we going to get... I think it's time that we get like a furry Velvet Room assistant.
A furry Velvet Room assistant?
Yeah, that's what Persona needs.
That would be something.
Yeah, we can see that. No, but seriously, I think the next Velvet Room assistant needs to be, you know, we've had it all. We've had like twins. We've had like a man, a woman, you know, we've had Elizabeth. There's so many different style of Velvet Room assistants. I just want to see, like, I don't know. Could we see in the next Persona game, like, it flipped around where Igor is the Velvet Room assistant and whoever's in his place? Yeah, I think
that would be interesting. Yeah, I don't know what other kind of variation they could do, but that's probably going to be one of the first things that they reveal. Honestly.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I feel like you could market that really easily. Like, ooh, new Velvet Room assistant. They plaster that all over their
new Velvet Room assistant dropped. I don't know, like, or maybe there's no Velvet Room. Have you thought about that?
Oh, that'll be a twist.
No, unless they reuse a Velvet Room assistant. I think they could do that. I think it doesn't really make sense because it's like, also, that's another question. What happens to these Velvet Room assistants? Does Igor kill them? Because he creates them, right? They're his creation, so they're like his children, right?
True.
But it's like, what happens to them? Like, okay, we know what happened to Elizabeth,
I don't think
right?
we want to know the answer to that.
No, but it's interesting. That's what I'm saying. That's why I want to be Igor, because like, what happened to Margaret? She technically nothing happened to her. She should be in Persona 5. Just saying.
That's true. She's still chilling in the car somewhere. I guess.
Igor left her in the car.
She's left her to drive for all eternity.
Oh man, yeah. What do you think she'll be listening to?
Oh,
like
she listened to like I don't know why Rascal Flatts just came to mind. I feel like it's doing her so dirty.
I don't know
country music.
Oh, okay. See, we don't have country music over here.
Oh, yeah. I guess that is like that's a pretty American thing. Isn't it?
Isn't it? Like root beer is not a thing here. We don't drink root beer, although I do like root beer. But even
root beer over there?
No, I mean we kind of get it with like Shake Shack. Like that's the only place you can get root beer.
That's crazy.
And it tastes like toothpaste. How do you guys drink that?
What?
Yeah.
That's like top tier soda.
Root beer is a soda. No, dude. Root beer sucks. I'm sorry to say that. Like what else? What else? Okay, let's talk about America. Let's end this off with a bit of America talk. Yeah. So root beer. What's up with that?
What with soda?
Is it really a soda?
Root beer is.
But like, what is it?
I have no idea.
You're
asking the wrong
It's technically
person.
made from sarsaparilla,
I know it's carbonated and it's got a good flavor. It comes in a can.
It's got toothpaste flavor.
As root beer.
It's not appealing at all. Like, don't get me wrong. And then you guys have Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew's gross, man.
I'm not a big Mountain Dew person.
Okay, cool, fair enough.
I'm not a big soda person in general.
But you want to defend root beer.
But I do want to defend root beer.
This is the hill that you want to die on. You don't like soda, but you want to defend root beer.
My favorite one.
Really? Not even ginger ale. Yeah. Ginger ale is so much better. I don't
know what they're transporting over there. They've got to be like
in
bottom of the barrel.
In the UK, our root beer is allowed to have sarsaparilla. In America, you can't even have sarsaparilla in the root beer, which is weird because that's what it's actually made of. So your root beer is not real. It's like artificial sarsaparilla taste. That's why it tastes like toothpaste.
I see.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say it.
Yeah,
but it's
you gotta
true.
go over there then see some real root beer.
Yeah, see some real root beer in the UK. I mean, to be fair, we're not really. I don't want to say we're not really a soda drinking people. We are, but it's like our sodas are not that. Like we have Iron Brew. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
It's kind of like cream soda. Actually, I don't want... The Scottish people will be so upset if I mention it like that, but it tastes like cream soda.
I do love cream soda.
So there you go. Cream soda's gross. So
what?
Yes, man. You're picking like such old man drinks. You don't even say Coca-Cola.
All our opinions are all out of whack.
Why? Because I'm saying I don't like, what was it? Root beer and what was the other one called?
Cream soda.
Cream soda. What is the idea behind cream soda? That sounds gross, man.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you drink it.
I don't know what any of these things are made of. I just know they taste good.
Yeah,
cream soda I think is like a more vanilla kind of flavor.
It's gross, man. To be. Like why? Like they introduced one here. It's like a Pepsi. It's a cream soda made by Pepsi, and it's so disgusting. Like I don't like
Pepsi. Are you a Pepsi person or Coke person?
You know what? In the UK, if you say you're a Pepsi person, you're kind of labeled as a weirdo. But I love Pepsi. Like I'm.
Okay, no, same.
But you know
I'm
that
a Pepsi person.
I am a Pepsi person, but Pepsi in the US is gross. I'll say that. I'll be the first one to say that. I prefer Coca-Cola in America, and in the UK, Pepsi is also gross, right? But if you ever have Pepsi in the Middle East, it's amazing, and that's why I'm such a fan of
Middle East Pepsi.
Yeah, because I'm originally from the Middle East, so that's
wild. Okay.
And Pepsi is just such a huge thing over there. But also, back in the 90s. Ooh, I don't know if you're probably not that old, right?
No.
No. Yeah, you don't remember.
24.
24. How? What year would that make you? 2000.
2000.
But like, what I'm saying is like in the 90s, there was no. I sound like such an old man, but like everything was off the table in the 90s, right? It was such a good time. All the drinks were just so sugary, and like you had like supersized like McDonald's. You know what I mean? Everything was so grotesque in the 90s in terms of food, but it was just so good. You know, like I said, Pepsi was so, there was like a war between Pepsi and Coke, and you know, like you had like all the, like what celebrities could you get to promote one another, and I think Pepsi got Michael Jackson, which was like the most horrible choice now. I think the 90s was a good time, even for like American food, you know? It was cool. Like no one cared about obesity, and it was just, yeah, you know? And I think, what else was it? It was like Lay's. I'm not a fan of Lay's. I think they're gross.
Really?
Yeah. I think
get with the Lay's.
I think potato chips in general is just a gross thing.
What about Pringles? They're like,
no, Pringles aren't really.
tier.
Pringles aren't chips though. You know what's disgusting about Pringles? And I'm going to say this, and I hope anyone listening doesn't get offended. But Pringles, it's basically mashed potatoes.
That may be true. Well, isn't that like what any potato chip is?
No, because most potato chips are like thinly sliced and fried, right? Pringles are, it's clear, like they make them into that shape. That means that there is some sort of Pringle paste that they have in a factory. Does that not gross you out?
It is better to not think.
Well, that's what it is. Think about it.
Don't ruin Pringles for me.
Well, you guys invented it. I have to ruin it because it's like, that's our job as British people, to ruin American snacks. I'll just say, like, Pringles are just kind of weird like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do like a Pringle every once in a while, you know. What was it? What's the slogan? Once you pop, you don't stop, or something like that. Is that the slogan?
I've never heard that. I don't know.
Dude, it might have been one from the 90s. The 90s was a wild time. And like M&Ms, they melt in your mouth, not in your hands. That was the M&Ms one. Chocolate in America is gross as well.
90s brain.
I'm
speaking in a different language.
Yeah, dude, don't make me feel old. I'm not that old. I'm like 5 years older than you. Chill, all right? Jeez. Mags, one final question, and this is actually a serious question. Yep. How did you get the name Mags? What is the origin behind that? It's
kind of like an amalgamation of other online names I've had. Okay. There's not really much of a story there, to be honest. I just kind of thought it sounded cool. I unfortunately, it's a short name, and I had to, when making social media handles and stuff, I didn't think it stood out or was always taken, you know, that kind of thing. So that's why I have like Mags is Gaming on all of my handles, and even like on YouTube. I don't really think I like the way that sounds, but that's kind of what I was stuck with for up until now. But I don't know. Mags was just more of just like a name that I could assign to my YouTube identity, I suppose. Yeah, there's not too much to it. I imagine that there's a lot of people that have the sort of socials Mags are like probably gun nuts, right? Oh god, yeah. I imagine. Magazines, both like paper magazines and like gun magazines, yeah. Oh, you know what? I completely forgot about paper magazines. I'm surprised you know about paper magazines. Because you're so young. Oh yeah. I was born yesterday. Yeah. With an iPad in your hand. Is that what it is? To be fair, actually, magazines were actually genuinely kind of were before I never really read magazines. Don't say that. No, that's bullshit. 100% that's bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm extending this episode by like 10 minutes because that's complete and utter bullshit. I shouldn't even be swearing on this podcast because it's supposed to be safe for work. But you've annoyed me here. You're not that young. You can't say, oh, magazines weren't really a thing when you're born in 2000s. Magazines were still magazines were still a thing until 2010. All right, jeez. They weren't a thing for me. Okay, they weren't a thing for you. All right, but magazines were still a thing. They're real, damn it. I'll concede. Okay, better. I don't know. Out of everything you said, that offended me the most. Magazines didn't exist. What the hell? Well, I wasn't even saying magazines didn't exist. You did. You were like, oh, magazines don't exist. They're a myth. Okay. They weren't as popular, I guess. Do you not find that? You know what? I was into National Geographic, actually, as a kid. That's a magazine I read. Isn't that like a TV channel? It's also a TV channel. Yeah, they do a lot of with the zoos and stuff. Magazines and other publications. Okay, cool. You know,
I remember back in the day, back in the good old days, magazines were quite fun. They used to have like gaming magazines, and you get like cheat
that's
codes
something
and
I never
stuff.
really experienced.
Yeah.
I see a lot of talk about gaming magazines and stuff.
Yeah, they kind of stopped. I think around 2000. I think a lot of like the more popular one, like PlayStation Magazine and like Nintendo Power, stopped in like the 2010s and stuff. But back in the day,
Yeah,
magazines
that is
were really popular, man. Like they were. And if you ever go to Japan, they're still super popular. Like going to Japan for me, and that's why I love Japan so much. And it kind of clicked on this podcast. Now, the reason I love Japan so much, it's like going back to the 90s. It's so like, it's such a futuristic place, but there's so many things that you're like, damn, this can only slide in the, like people still smoke in restaurants and in hotels in Japan.
That is actually crazy.
It is crazy because that's what the 90s was, baby. Like you can go to any apartment building, everyone's smoking in the lobby. I miss that. We should bring, no, I don't even want to say this. We should
Dude,
bring
I
cigarettes
gotta
back.
go to Japan.
Yeah, no.
I really want to
You
go
should.
someday.
You should. I think you'd love it as well because the amount of games that are there, like especially if you're going to secondhand shops, it's a collector's paradise. Like I absolutely love it. And now is a better time than ever, to be fair, to go to Japan. I think because the yen is so weak and they're opening more like flight routes from America to Japan. So like you can get like budget airlines like Zip Air, which is owned by Japan Airlines, and they're super cheap to get to Japan too from America. Or if you live in the UK like me, it costs you an arm and a leg to get to Japan because of the flight. It's just insane. It's like a 14-hour flight and they have to fly over like Russia and stuff. And it's yeah, so it's a bit more expensive just because it's a longer flight. And also, no, I don't want to say no one really goes to Japan. Like the only flight you can take from the UK to Japan is going to Tokyo. And there's so much more to Japan than just Tokyo. Like there's Osaka, there's like
I would imagine.
Kyoto, and there's everything. But also I think Americans ruin Japan a lot. I'm sorry to say this. They ruin it.
No, I get it.
Yeah, no.
What you mean just like with the touristy shenanigans?
Oh, dude, when I was there was one American guy that was like he was trying to pay with his card, and it was like an establishment that doesn't take card, and they're trying to explain to him, we don't take card. And he was like, yeah, but this is my money. And I'm like, dude, you have cash. I can see it in your wallet. Just give him the fucking cash. Why are you like this? No, I want to play on my credit card. I'm like, shut up. Do you know what I mean? Or sometimes they don't know where they're going. Like, you know, like in Persona 5 and you're trying to get through Shibuya Station. You're like, what the hell? Like, Americans do not know where to go. And the signs are in English. They're not even in Japanese. They can read. And it makes me think Americans don't know how to read.
Americans are illiterate.
Yeah.
We've all known this.
Yeah. Which I'm surprised, actually. Like, you speak very good English despite being an American.
I know.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? I've actually, unironically, I've heard Americans say before, speak American. And I'm like, what? You think American is a language? No, anyways.
Unfortunately,
there are some Americans like that. Not all Americans. And in fact, I just want to put a disclaimer. I'm obviously joshing on Americans a little bit because I'm British, right? It's our job, right? Because Americans are like our little brother, right? So that's kind of how it is. My apologies, Mags, if you feel offended.
No, not at all.
Good, because I wasn't meaning that apology.
As an American, I will admit we are extremely annoying.
No, I wouldn't say annoying. I think some bits about America are annoying, you know, like root beer and cream soda and like Walgreens. What is your obsession with Walgreens? Not you particularly. Yeah, Walgreens. I fucking hate Walgreens. Why is this?
It's just a drugstore.
Yes. Why are they selling food at a drugstore? It's for drugs. They sell candy. They sell candy at Walgreens. Why are you buying candy at Walgreens?
I guess.
Why are you buying a soda at Walgreens? Okay, that's what I don't like about it. And also, why can you buy guns in Walmart? What is that about?
You can't.
You can buy a gun in Walmart.
The last time I was in a Walmart, can you actually buy a gun?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in certain states, I imagine.
No, shouldn't be able to do that.
And Trader Joe's. What is that about?
Trader Joe's
it sucks. Trader Joe's sucks, man.
You buy stuff in bulk for cheaper.
That's what Costco is for.
Americans like big stuff.
That's what Costco is for, guys. Go to Costco. Don't go to Trader Joe's.
They're like competitors. They do basically the same thing.
No, they don't. Trader Joe's is like the bougie Costco. No one likes that. You know, we want real American Costco.
I don't know. We're a Costco family, so
yeah, good.
I'm not as familiar with Trader Joe's.
Yeah,
we're on the good side of history.
Exactly. Costco. Oh, I love Costco so much. Like the hot dogs in Japan, they're insane as well because they're pork hot dogs, which kind of freaked me out a bit because I was like, I've never had a pork hot dog. I mean, you have pork hot dogs all the time in the UK, but like I've never had a Costco hot dog that's pork. Because in the US, it's what do they use? They use like what do they call them? like a particular type of hot dog. It's a beef hot dog and it's super cheap.
Yeah.
But in Japan, it's even cheaper, and it's like, this is a good hot dog. And they have that little machine that you can get like onions from, you know, like the ones you turn. America used to have that. They removed it.
Oh, nice.
UK never had it though.
We can't have nice things over here in America.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and thank you, Mags, for coming on. Genuinely, I really do enjoy having you on, and honestly, I'd love to have you on again. For those that are new to you, where can we find you?
I am on YouTube at Mags' Gaming. On Blue Sky under the same name. I don't use Twitter anymore.
Okay.
They're kind of my only socials right now, so you can find me there.
But yeah, that being said, thank you for coming on, and thank you guys for listening. Next week, we're hopefully going to have another episode. I don't know what it's going to be about, but it should be an interesting one. So see you guys next week.
See ya.